Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good Monday morning. After a 1 week hiatus for our 7-minute leadership lesson, get a chance to be back. I apologize for being gone next week. Not that you cared or even noticed, but we'll let some people jump on here. If you know how to swipe and invite, I encourage you to do that. Last week I was in Dallas, Texas on Monday speaking at Southwestern Bible College, or Southwestern University, which is part Bible school, part liberal arts university. Great university, about 3,000 students there. It was a great time. But anyway, I was speaking in Dallas at 8:30 West Coast time, so it just didn't work out to do the Periscope. So anyway, I just wanted to come on real quick this morning and answer a very simple question to show you how your brain relates to leadership by asking this question: are we wired for negativity? And actually, you ever been around some people that are just incredibly negative people, as opposed to others who are hopelessly optimistic? And of course, if we had our choice, we'd all want to be around optimistic people rather than negative people. And sometimes you walk away going, are people just wired for the negative? And actually, it is true. Just a basic understanding of neuroscience tells us that our brains are more wired to receive negative things than positive things. And again, this isn't an interpretation of psychology, but actually the science proves this in two ways. And so how does that relate to leadership? First of all, do you know that the way the brain is wired, that it instantly receives implicit negative stimulus and records it and stores it? But it takes over 20 seconds for the brain to receive something that's positive. Now, why is that? Because the human brain is an organ that has been designed by God to anticipate things. It doesn't simply measure realities. It has a mechanism, God-given, to anticipate things. So the need to anticipate a threat is more necessary for survival than the need to anticipate something that would cause you to be happy or to thrive. So by God's design, we pick up things that are negative quicker because it can save our life. But here's the negative aspect to that negative wiring in leadership is we have to train our brains when we hear reports about people, when we talk to somebody who is telling us about somebody else, we have to train our brain to not receive or draw a conclusion based on first impressions with people, because it will kill you in leadership. So first of all, the brain receives negative things instantly. It scans it, it stores it, it compares it to similar painful previous experiences. It puts it in there because the brain is anticipating something that could be threatening. If something is good told to you, it takes about 20 seconds for us to scan and store that in our head. So it just happens at a different speed. But here's what else is fascinating. Neuroscientists tell us that when you have something good in your mind about somebody and it arrives first, it only takes an equal amount of negative information to push something positive off the plate. So let's say I hear somebody say something good about somebody. I've never met them. So my impression about them is positive. It only takes one equal amount of negative to push the positive off the plate. But the reverse is not true. And this is how it relates again to leadership, because yes, we are wired for the negative. So if you have something negative you've heard about somebody and that's established in your mind as far as their reputation, it takes 3 times the amount of positive information to push out something that's established that is negative. Remember, if something positive about a person arrives first, an equal negative thing can push the positive off. But if the negative is there first, it takes 3 times the amount to push the negative out. So that tells us that, it takes 3 good things somebody would say about that person if your impression of them is negative. So how in the world does all of this relate to leadership? Man, it relates every single day this way. Leaders have to train their emotions and train their brains. If you get a negative first impression about a person, you personally cannot naturally draw that conclusion to where it takes overwhelming evidence 3 times the evidence for somebody to get back in good grace with you. Because what happens, we're in the people business. We're always hearing stuff about people. We're always hearing people's problems, and usually people's problems is other people. So you're getting bad stuff as you're trying to help and heal this person and coach them through their problem. You're getting about 10 other names thrown in the story. Well, what's happening to your natural mind is, if that information is negative, you put them in that place. And if you let them just stay in that place, it is unfair to that individual that you lead, because you will be susceptible to take an enormous amount of good that you need to hear about the person before you're persuaded to give them a chance. So leaders literally have to rise above the negative wiring of their brain if we're going to be just leaders, compassionate leaders, if we're going to be fair with people. Because when people are hurting, man, they just kind of spew and vomit all over the place, and they don't care. They're taking no prisoners, man. They're laying people out, telling you this name, that name. And so you have to really train yourself in leadership, not to allow that first impression to be quickly scanned and stored in your heart, because then when you see that person face to face, you're going to have an aloof, a distant, a reserved attitude toward that person, and you've never met him in your life. So leaders have to train their brains, train their emotions, not to fall prey to the natural hard wiring that is wired for the negative, or you're going to really miss out on some pretty wonderful people in your life, because the first impression you got from them wasn't just, it wasn't accurate. So anyway, just a little help on leadership and how our brains kind of get in the way sometimes. So hope this helped. We love you who all joined me. When I'm looking in the camera, it's hard to read. Train our brains. I love this. Thanks for saying that. Yes, train our brains to rise above negative information. That is exactly the challenge that we have in leadership. So anyway, thanks for joining me. And if you could swipe and share if this was helpful to some other leaders. God bless you guys. Have a great Monday. We'll see you back next week for 7-minute leadership lesson. God bless you. Bye-bye.